I think Spitalfields music has always been about giving composers and music creators the opportunity to create new work, and a really key part of this is our artist development programme. And we recognise that artists need time to experiment and sometimes need to be nudged to test their practice, try new ideas, and also respond perhaps to issues outside music that they're concerned about, and they don't often get the opportunities to go through that process in a developmental way that's open-ended and that is supported. And so this particular project, Open Call, gives music creators from diverse backgrounds and different traditions the opportunity to create new work without the idea being that it has to be a fully finished performance, but to try something new and also get some immediate feedback and response from a group of friends in an audience, and then to see where that takes them after that.
I think it's been it's been an amazing opportunity to extend my artistic practice. Until this point, I've been working in the last few years just thinking about directing and singing, but making new music has been something I haven't thought about for a long time. So being able to be in a room with some really great artists to actually really interrogate myself as a music maker and my role in that function has been a really valuable thing, but also to interrogate a process that for a really long time has been a massive passion project, and to see that finally get an opportunity to begin to develop and to be interrogated has been a really wonderful and rewarding experience, and it's left me ready to try and do a lot more of it.
It felt really intense, but actually I feel like I got what I needed out of it for the moment that I needed it. I got that, and I'd say the intentions of what I wanted to make came through, and also the response to it also came through at the same time. I'm really happy with playing with Ramel. I'm also really happy about how the drums and the barrels played off. So I think generally the execution of my project was really, I'm happy with it, yeah. And also just the support throughout, and everyone emailing me and telling me things are going fine. Just remember, it's a work in progress, you're doing well. And it also, piano's challenging because I've never played live before in my life. So it's actually a really nice space for me to be in terms of going beyond what you're comfortable with as well as an artist. If you're going to make the audience uncomfortable, how are you exploring your own uncomfortability? And I think for me, I'm very glad that it was focused on being uncomfortable artistically, actually.
I think having the opportunity to create new work, there's so few opportunities to try and do that around, and to have a company like Spitalfields who are able to guide you through that process is really, really invaluable. I think knowing that I had them and a producer and a mentor that was kind of provided as part of that, and also to set a standard for the work I wanted to achieve, and also to give a worth to my work, and to have the recognition of the fact that the work I make could be valuable enough to belong to that festival, that team, is a really, really exciting thing. And I think we need more opportunities. There are so many people that want to make work and try radical practice, and it's a scary thing to do, and a lot of people don't know how to offer opportunities to cross arts radical practice. And I think it's really nice that Spitalfields acknowledge that there's so many different ways to make music, and it doesn't always involve a composer sitting at home writing from their piano.
It's incredibly important. For me, I think it's about understanding that classical doesn't mean it isn't your run-of-the-mill. It has to have arias and all these different things. It doesn't have to be all focused on opera. It doesn't have to be something that was made 200 years ago, and so therefore it's important. It doesn't have to be what you would consider to be a classical instrument, because for me, the steel pan is a classical instrument. It has a history that's steeped in so much joy, and aside from the trauma as well, it's so much joy and fulfillment and power as well. And that's what you listen to when you listen to classical music. It's a movement. It's that powerful joining of so many different sounds all together. And so for me, it's really I'm really happy that I did apply to the open call, because it was about, from the moment they wrote it, everyday interactions and challenging that disconnection and trying to create this connection that would therefore spark movement and spark power, but also spark a kind of honest conversation about speaking truth to power. So that for me felt like the best kind of way into the idea of bringing in history and legacy and memory. What Spitalfields was challenging us to think about is how do we foster those connections that we already have? How do we become aware of that? And for me, it was a great connection because I was already trying to explore that myself. So, yeah, I think it's been great.
Well, I think we expected to be challenged, and we were. I mean, our musical experiences so far have been very traditional. And through our family, the younger members of the family, we're increasingly being invited to these kind of events. And, I think for us, that's been a great experience, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the younger generation coming on and actually breaking down walls and barriers, which I find, for me, is fantastic for going forward, for the future. Really, I think that's what pleases me the most. But it also puts me in a very uncomfortable position at times as to how to react to that, which I find quite difficult, being fairly reticent and being used to going in an audience, I think, and sitting and watching something, but not actually being expected to participate.
The other aspects of it, which is somebody standing up very openly, going, "Okay, this is what I have at the moment. What do you think? Where should I be going?" It's not this kind of completely polished. I've waited in a darkened room until it's, giving birth to it as a whole thing. Actually going out and going, "Okay, this is where we are at the moment."
And I think for me as well is the whole how can we break down barriers using different techniques to engage different audiences or future audiences, because I think the conventional arts organisations have failed for years to try and go outside of their comfort zone.
I think what depresses us sometimes...
And it depresses us, exactly.
We go to an event and we look across the audience and it's all grey-haired. And I think that's... We just go to the wrong places, you'll say.
I mean, we love classical music and opera, and we want other people to enjoy it, but I'm afraid the organisations that run it have really not gone out and persuaded new audiences to engage in the art.